Well, good afternoon. Captain Patrick Worley again here, and thank you for your time, your attention today. I'm going to try to tackle a very complicated subject here in about 10 minutes. It's yachts, charter yachts, and specifically new versus used. Oh man, there's like the video that we were just talking about, catamarans versus monohulls. The new versus used argument's been around for a long time, and I can tell you that generally speaking, both parties are wrong. They just are. They either haven't crunched the numbers, they haven't owned enough vessels to really be an expert on the matter, and again, they often are making mistakes on both ends. So first of all, let's talk about used. Used yachts seem like a great deal. I mean, often with the standard depreciation in a vessel's value. Now we're talking about the pricing, not depreciation in the IRS setting. We've already done videos on that. But depreciation in terms of the fact that boats get older and they go down in value, and they get used and they go down in value, and they get engine hours and generator issues and things like that, and they go down in value. So people will say, well, why should I spend $100,000 more or $200,000 more for a new boat that I can get this deal on a used boat? Well, again, the story's not over. Just because you're buying used, you're not going to actually pocket that money. We have seen situations, in fact, an Azimut that we were working on up in New York City, not working on, but working with a client. In some cases, you can spend almost as much money if you have some unforeseen repairs and some other issues that you didn't anticipate. You can start approaching the price of a new vessel by the way, without all the headaches and without all the labor and the piracy, by the way, that goes on in the modern world in boat yards. Sorry, but that's the way I feel about that. So again, in a used yacht, and we've talked about this before, you're going to want to use a surveyor. You're going to want to get 5 surveyors. You're going to want to have an engine surveyor from a diesel mechanic. You're going to want to have a rig survey if it's a sailing vessel. Spend as much time and as much money as you can, making sure that you're not getting a pig in a poke, that you know exactly what you're getting, what you're buying, and what it's going to need to fix it up. Well, that brings up the next issue, boat yards. The difference between what the repair was supposed to cost and, of course, what the repair actually costs. Now, in our setting, we're not just talking about boats in general, we're talking about charter yachts, bareboat, variable, crude, whatever. If that thing sits on the hard for another 30 days, you may have missed 1 or 2 charters. That's big income, especially during high season. So again, used vessels are great, but they're not the price differential that they appear to be because of the work and the repairs. Again, how many hours are on the engines? That's huge. People say, oh, well, diesel engines run forever. No, they don't. Unfortunately, I've owned them, many of them, and they don't run forever. And generators don't run forever. There comes a point when it's going to have to be replaced. That takes a long time. It's very expensive. And these days, you may not be able to get your hands on one. I spoke with a professional the other day on a particular manufacturer of a beautiful charter yacht. I own one of them, and I can tell you they're having trouble getting engines. That's bad. That's bad for a whole bunch of reasons that you can imagine. So again, in the used market, when you start looking at what the costs are actually going to be, it's kind of similar to a new home versus a used home. You've got to be very realistic. Again, get a good survey so you know what you're getting into. Number 2, make sure that you understand what the repairs are going to cost to bring it up to speed. And by the way, how long it's going to take to do those repairs. I had a gentleman some years ago, very good client of mine, captain, very knowledgeable. Whenever he would buy a used vessel, he wouldn't rebuild or improve things. He would remove things. Let me say that this way. Sometimes it's better to remove than it is to improve. Air conditioning systems, for instance. Throw it out, get a new one. Generator, replace it. You know, there's many transmissions. I recently bought a used vessel some years ago. We were having trouble with the port transmission. So I went ahead and paid the difference out of my own pocket to replace the port transmission and the starboard transmission. So now I've got 2 brand new transmissions, which, by the way, never gave me a moment's trouble during the whole time that I owned the yacht in the charter world. So again, dependability, obviously better to spend the money. She was already out of the water. So those kinds of things. So again, those are some issues. Also, if you buy a 3, 4, maybe even a 5-year-old vessel and you keep it for 3 years, now it's 8 years old. Well, that can be a problem. Sometimes it's hard for your buyer, listen, it's hard for your buyer to get financing. Maybe he likes the price. Maybe the price works for you and for him. If you can't get the financing, that's going to be an issue. So, of course, the longer you hold the vessel in salt water, again, the more deterioration and issues there's going to be. So let's talk very briefly about a new vessel. New vessels are very expensive, especially these days. Remember, and I've quoted this many times on my videos, boats are made of fiberglass. What's fiberglass made out of? Oil. And as we sit here and speak today, oil is approaching $120, $123 a barrel, and could be on its way up much higher than that, according to Credit Suisse Bank, Bank of America, and Goldman Sachs. That being the case, new boats are expensive, but they have a magical thing called a warranty. Oh man, warranties are cool. I've had some warranty issues over the years, and it got fixed. I had a generator that was already 9 months old. And because of some issues that we had there, they removed the old one, put a brand new one with 0 hours in it, and the warranty really paid for itself. Some of our clients, including me, we like to drive very expensive cars, and boy, you better have a warranty, because if you have a problem with a transmission or a brakes or something like that on a Highline automobile, $8,000 to $10,000 is pretty much the rule of thumb. Or I could have a warranty, in which case the work is done for free. So again, new vessels, brand new, they tend, by the way, not to drop that much in the first couple years. There's been a number of times recently, including very recently, that I sold a brand new boat in the 2nd or 3rd year. I didn't let it go the 4th and 5th and so forth year, because remember, 2 things are happening in the new boat world. Number one, my boat's going down and down and down in value, and at the same time, the boat that I'm looking to buy, the replacement boat, the new model, is going up and up and up. Well, those 2 arrows are kind of going the wrong way. So sometimes it's good to jump ship in the 3rd year. Now again, that's something that we'd want to talk about. That's part of your exit strategy. That's part of your business plan. That's part of discussions that we've already had about what's coming in the future. We're not going to wake up some morning and find out that we need to get rid of the boat. It's something we talked about a year ago, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. So some other advantages, newer boats are, like cars, are safer. They're quite a bit faster, usually quite a bit lighter. They have newer issues, newer equipment that's built in. My 53 has something called augmented reality. Never even heard of augmented reality. Love it now. AIS. Those kinds of things are standard on LED lights. I actually had an LED light conversation with a new client the other day. The LEDs and a lot of the new things that are automatic, they're already basic equipment on newer yachts. You might not find that type of equipment on a vessel that's 2 or 3 years old. Well, no problem, Patrick, I'll put one on. Well, hang on. Again, you've got to add that to the repairs and the maintenance and the upgrades. And again, that used boat price just keeps getting more and more expensive. By the way, I had a chance a couple of new boats ago to go ahead and have a radar system that was already installed, already larger screen, wires run up the mast, radome on the mast installed by the manufacturer, by the dealer, and it was very inexpensive to add it on. I had a client recently that decided he wanted to add radar onto his charter yacht because he was going to be taking it around the world next year when it comes out of charter. Couldn't believe how expensive it was going to be to do everything, maybe for $12,000 that I had done for $3,500 because I had it done by the dealer. So we're not talking about options today. That's another video. But it's important to know that by the time that you buy and install and clean and maintain and improve and buy and install, on a used yacht in salt water, sometimes the new boat's a little bit easier to deal with. And again, get it into charter, get it making some money, and then you're looking at a 2 or 3 year old boat that's in very good condition, low engine hours, low generator hours. Do the math. So again, if you want to sit down some afternoon by phone or by Zoom, take a white piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, Let's talk about the used boat pricing you're looking at, as well as the new boat pricing. We have some very good friends and associates that are used boat brokers who are very knowledgeable, been around for years. Some of them have sold hundreds of yachts, and they can be a great source of information and data when it comes to really looking at the way that bottom line is going to pan out, used versus new. So again, here to help you. If you have any questions, give us a call. We'll be happy to speak both languages to you. Remember, we don't have an agenda. Our agenda is you. So again, whatever you're wanting to do, let's make sure it's going to make sense during the construction and the operation and the exit strategy. So again, Captain Patrick out. Thanks for joining us.